Team USA has increased its overall medal lead as we begin this Wednesday, July 31st. Americans have now won 26 Olympic medals overall.
And France is next with 18 medals, followed by China with 14. Welcome to this edition of the Tea from Paris. It's a special edition of Amy and TJ, and in this episode, you can call them the Golden Girls. The women of USA Gymnastics adopt a fitting new team name, but not just because of the medals around their necks this morning.
Plus, in this episode, the U.S. men's soccer team handles its business, why Coco Gauff was in tears during her Olympic match, and we bet you will be cheering for the U.S. men's basketball team's opponent today just a little bit.
Also, U.S. women do something that the U.S. has never done in the Olympics before. And first it was rain, now a heat wave could cause problems in Paris. A swimmer has been kicked out of the Olympics for love or something. A British rugby player has left the Olympics after allegations of racism. A Muslim athlete is accused of deliberately avoiding competition against an Israeli athlete.
Plus, the River Seine is open for triathlon swimming. Ugh. Also, an opening ceremony performer is taking legal action because of threats, and a movie we appreciate that we watched before the triathlon started. That's going to be our movie recommendation for everybody today, and you do need to watch it. So welcome everybody to this episode. Robes. So we've been doing this every morning. What time did the alarm clock go off this morning?
Well, it
didn't even go off.
No, you woke up before. I think in the 4 o'clock range.
In the 4 o'clock.
And we went to bed around 2 a.m. I'm just letting everyone know we are doing this on about 2 hours of sleep.
Oh, okay. So you are already setting up an excuse for why this is going to suck.
No, just an excuse why it might be extra funny, maybe, or silly, or I don't know.
Hey, but you missed this morning. Every morning, when you do get up, I'm in here watching something, and I say, oh my God, let me tell you what you missed. What you missed this morning was table tennis and badminton. Now, women's badminton is just a blast to watch, but I discovered that my favorite U.S. uniforms might be the ones that the U.S. women badminton players wear. It's a cool getup.
All right, I have no idea what it looks like.
It's a red, white, and blue kind of a sport dress thing. It looks simple and cool. You know, we've been talking about the uniforms. This is one you'll like. I will get you a picture, but that was my morning.
I will check that out. And I will say, when I did come out, your eyes were closed. I think you had dozed off a little bit in the middle of the matches. Just saying.
It was dark in here. I saw everything this morning. But yes, with all that going on, the fun we've been having for the past several days, know you've been having a good time watching. We didn't have any more fun than we had yesterday, all of us, as we begin now with the Golden Girls.
That's right. It felt like more of a coronation than a competition. The U.S. women's gymnastics team reclaiming their gold medal that they left behind at the 2020 Tokyo Games. They got silver, if you remember. From the very beginning, it just wasn't in doubt. And eventually, they won by a nearly 6-point margin. That is significant.
That's a huge blowout in gymnastics.
Huge blowout. Italy ended up winning the silver medal, which was so fun to watch. Their enthusiasm, and then Brazil got the bronze. And watching both of those two teams was almost just as exciting as seeing the women's USA team.
Well, you said Italy and Brazil.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to China? Men and women.
Yeah, they both had just mistakes that they don't usually make, that they made at the worst possible time. And so, both of the men's and the women's teams were expected to medal for sure. And the Chinese men's team did. They got the silver. They thought they were going to get the gold.
But they had a collapse.
They had a collapse. And the women had the same problem. We just kept watching them fall and wobble. And you just could see the disappointment.
Here's the thing. Even if China had been great and hadn't had the falls, they still weren't going to beat the U.S. We watched it. It was not a competition. So it was almost a showcase for U.S. gymnastics to just enjoy them because the result was never really in doubt.
Yeah, and they looked like they were enjoying it. Also of note, we should point out that Russia is not competing in this Olympics. And they had been powerhouses. They won the gold last Olympics in Tokyo. But they have historically been powerhouses in both the men's and women's gymnastics field. So their absence certainly left an open space for there to be, for the U.S. to have the glory that it did. Not that they couldn't have beaten them. I'm not saying that isn't possible, but it would have been stiffer competition.
Yeah, and the women now, talk about dominance and consistency, and you mentioned the Soviet Union. So for the women in the Olympics now, it's 2024. So gold this year. So let's go back for the last to 92. So this year, gold. Last, silver. Gold. Gold. Silver. Silver. Bronze. Gold. Bronze. That's back in Barcelona. They get a medal in every Olympics in some way. Before this list I just put together, now that was 92, bronze, Barcelona. Before that, you look at the list, it's all Soviet Union.
Yep.
Romania, 1 and 2 in all the
Nadia
years.
Comaneci starting it off. Yes, I mean, they're the famous Olympians that really started, I think, the fanfare around gymnastics. So anyway, it was a pleasure to watch. And you know what? Watching Simone Biles, it is remarkable. And she was the only U.S. gymnast to compete on every discipline. And she closed out the meet on her best, perhaps. The floor exercise. Vault could also be considered her best, but floor is right up there. Her tumbling passes are unparalleled. Like, no one can do what she does. But yes, we all already knew that it was in the bag. So when she took onto the floor for that final event, it was just it was a party. She was smiling
Whole time.
She was having a blast. And so then after they won their gold medals, they were asked about their new team nickname. Before they had said that it was going to be the Fafo 5. It's basically
vulgar.
F around and find out. Kind of like, watch us do our thing. Yes. But they decided to change it to the Golden Girls. And it's so fitting because it's not just that they have gold hardware around their necks. Because Biles is 27, Jade Carey is 24, and Jordan Childs is 23. They are the 3 oldest U.S. female gymnasts to win gold medals. How perfect to be called the Golden Girls.
But I didn't realize that. I mean, you look at it, 27, 24, 23, 21, 16. Like, I would love to have any of those ages.
Yes.
And they're the old ladies there. This is actually the oldest gymnastics team competing at the Paris Olympics, but the oldest team since 1952.
I love
to
that.
compete at an Olympics. And that is, I mean,
It's remarkable.
It is.
Because what gymnasts do to their bodies, you're in the gym, and I know all athletes at this level, do incredible things and have very, very difficult workouts, but gymnasts especially, that pounding with what you do on the floor and the bars, that you take a beating. And so for her to be doing it, for them, all 3 of them to be doing it at their ages, at the level they're doing it, is remarkable.
That's sweet. Look, we kept saying, I'm not sure what her specialty is, but the 16-year-old, the youngin, Hesley.
Yes,
right?
Hesley Rivera, right?
Yeah, she did not compete.
Right.
She didn't get to. So she watched her team get the glory. She's a part of the team. But for a little piece of me, I'm like, for a little thing, I wish she could have gotten in there and contributed in some way. She did contribute, obviously, to this team.
To get them where they are, right?
Yeah, but only 3 get to compete on each apparatus or each discipline. And she wasn't one picked. But she sat there and she smiled and she supported and she was great throughout as well. But we're going to be seeing her plenty in the future.
I'm hoping, yes, in LA 2028, we will see her do her thing. I am very sure of it.
So we want to say also, after a really rocky start, the U.S. men's soccer team got it together. Congrats to them. They lost, as you know, their initial Olympic match against France. That was 3-0. Didn't look good, but they beat Guinea yesterday. Puts them in the quarterfinals. They're now in the knockout round in ropes. This is crazy. They have not been this far in the Olympics since 2000. I believe.
Yeah, the Sydney Olympics. That was the last time they got to the knockout stage. So this is remarkable. And by the way, it is just the second time the U.S. Olympic men's soccer team has made it out of that group since the current tournament format was introduced at Rome in 1960. So this is a historic thing that these men have been able to pull off, and we're so excited to cheer them on.
And it's so cool that I say cool, but for the women, it's like, well, duh, of course they in the knockout stage. And for the guys, like, way to go, fellas. But no, they have a little ground to make up, certainly when it comes to, in comparison to the U.S. women who have been so dominant for so long. But it's good to see them at least getting this far after that disappointment in the Copa. America didn't make it to the night.
It was hard to watch. So this makes it extra sweet, and we know what we're doing on Friday.
Oh yeah, I think it's 9. Oh, do I have it right? I think it's 9 in the morning, 9 a.m.
Whatever. That's when the party starts. They're playing Morocco, and as we mentioned, knockout stage. So they win or they go home. So everything is on the line.
As we should say, win or come home.
That's true.
The U.S. men's basketball team, you're not really worried about them. They're going to be playing their second game of the Paris Olympics. Now, they blew out Serbia in the opening game. Their opponent this time is a team, however, that they barely beat just a few weeks ago. South Sudan. Huh? Yeah, South Sudan was up by as much as 16 points against this very U.S. team in an exhibition game in London last month. It took LeBron James heroics to pull that one out. They beat South Sudan at the time 101-100. This upstart little squad had a last-second shot that went out, so they could have beat the U.S., but they're about to play them again today.
Dang, and we heard from the coach that Jason Tatum is expected to play this time around, so he will be off the bench, and that'll be something to watch for sure. So we're excited about that as well. And this isn't do or die for them.
No, this is still group stage, and we all know they're going to be fine. But it's cool. South Sudan is a country that has only been a country for about 13 years. We know Sudan was involved for, I guess, generations, it feels, in internal conflict, civil war, and even some of these players on this team have actually had family members. Even a dad of one of the players died in some of the violence there. So they're just these guys.
You'll be rooting for them, but not that much. Just a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
You want to see them do well. Their first victory ever in the Olympics was this week when they played, and now they get to play these guys. I hope they have a good showing. Obviously, we know who we're rooting for, but it's just one of those cool stories.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch. It was hard to watch, though. Coco Gauff. She lost her singles match. She still has more competitions ahead. But, of course, that was the one I'm sure she was holding on to very sweetly. But she was in tears even before the match was over. It involved a referee or an umpire. What do they call them in tennis?
The chair.
The chair. Okay, I got none of them right.
But no. It's but Coco, she's the number 2 player in the world. She was ranked the 2 seed at this actual tournament. So she had real designs on a gold medal. She's in this match. She loses the first set, fine. And then she starts kind of unraveling a little bit. She's not playing as well. But there was a call that she then argued with the chair umpire about. This went on for 5+ minutes. It was a heated exchange, clearly, and she had tears rolling down her face. Now, what happened? It's a rule. The ball is coming towards her. They call it out before she hits the ball. The ball on review was actually in. So the chair umpire says, you lose the point, Coco. Anyway, she says, well, wait a minute.
You called out.
You called out before I swung. So let's just replay the point. It was a critical point. That is what happened. She ends up losing. She said herself, I am not blaming my loss on this one call, but she was very frustrated about what happened.
Yeah, and when she started playing again, when she came back out, because it was a several-minute heated exchange, the crowd actually booed the umpire. So they were on Coco Gauff's side for sure. But yes, I do appreciate the fact that she made it very clear that she wasn't blaming that call for her loss.
That's, you know what? That's I guess that's sportsmanship to a certain degree as well. This is cool about the U.S. women, the rugby team that we were just talking about yesterday. Alana Marr, who was a star of that team, who has been very active on social media, very popular athlete. She's fun. If you don't know her, Alana Marr, you need to look her up. She's just a blast. But the women's rugby team, pulled something off that men or women from the U.S. have never done in the Olympics.
That's right. They claimed a bronze medal. They upset Australia, which is a powerhouse in women's rugby. So it was a big win, a big coup for the U.S. women's rugby team. And certainly, they want to shine a spotlight on a sport that isn't that well known in this country, and they do it well. But we're going to stay on the rugby side of things, because there is a story out there that, wow, you'll have to read it to believe it, or to hear it from us to believe it. A key player on Britain's rugby team actually withdrew from competition yesterday, after she reportedly sent out an image of herself with a blacked out face, with her tongue sticking out. The message she had underneath her picture read, "Thought I'd have a better chance with the Blacks." She says the Blacks, that is what the New Zealand team, that is their nickname, All Blacks rugby team. They got their nickname not because of their skin color, but because they wear black shirts, black shorts, and black socks. But certainly this was incredibly offensive. That picture and her caption made the rounds on social media. And so she withdrew, and the British Olympic Association says it's now launched an investigation After that picture came to light on social media, we haven't heard much from the British rugby team. They say they actually said she had been withdrawn on medical grounds when she wasn't playing. And the team captain said they were, this is a strange way to put it, quote unquote, broadly unaware about the allegation. But just feel like we should mention here that the New Zealand All Blacks, they went on to defend their gold medal and got another one.
What does broadly unaware mean?
Exactly.
That's interesting.
I thought that was a very strange choice of words, but that is directly from the team captain.
Well,
I am only repeating what she said.
all of these, it's always amazing. We almost have too much news to put into this episode because it never fails. It's,
right?
I mean, stuff and people winning medals and the competition, but there's so much that happens with these athletes outside of the competition, and oftentimes it is controversial.
How do people not know not to paint their face black at this point in 2024? How is that possible?
I'll take a step further.
Oh.
How do you know? How do you not know to not paint your face and post it?
Yeah, exactly. Let's take it a step further and have all see on WhatsApp. How is that not that blows my mind.
You want to take it further? How do you paint your face and post it when you're a high-profile Olympian?
These are all questions that I would like to, and we have not heard from her. She's 32 years old. So she's also 32 years old. Her name's Amy Wilson Hardy, and we'll wait to see if we hear from her ever again.
Why you give the age? Because
I feel like
she should know better.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, everyone should know better at this point, but especially if you're a grown-ass woman. Come on.
And what do I always say on these things? I will wait to hear from her.
Yep.
I would like to hear her side before I jump to the obvious conclusion.
Okay.
So we shall wait.
All right.
The weather has been talked about quite a bit from
yeah.
the very beginning because we all saw that opening ceremony. They were just all drenched. But we got another weather situation with the Olympics that could cause a problem for the athletes. But, Robes, this time it's going to be the heat.
Yeah, we're talking, it was, I believe they said 98 degrees in Paris yesterday, 105 in Marseille and Nice, where they have some of the soccer competitions. So, that is grueling. And I believe it's supposed to be 95 degrees plus today as well. Then you've got the humidity. This is not at all something that athletes who are doing things at the highest level, want to contend with. It happened in Tokyo too, though. This is tough, and this is tough heat, and this isn't very typical for Paris. I looked, I think they're 20 degrees above average today. It is going to get better in the next couple of days. That's the good news, but they still have to suffer through another incredibly, yes, exactly, dangerous heat levels today.
So that was the issue, or that is the issue now, is going to be the heat. We were talking about that rain. It caused issues. They say, I mean, the River Seine is known as being nasty. You're not allowed. You're banned from swimming in it. At least folks around France, and they know this. You can't swim in the Seine because it's nasty. Well, the water quality of the river, where the swimming portion of the triathlon was scheduled to take place, the water quality was so low that they had to delay the start of the triathlon. They had to actually cancel some practices that were supposed to take place. However, the triathlons went off this morning. We're not going to give you any results, but we can tell you that, in fact, they say the levels are now safe. You believe that? They're now safe, and we saw those athletes jumping in that delicious water.
When I came into the living room this morning, that's what I walked into. Badminton was over. Table tennis was over, but the triathlon was on. The swimming portion was, at the very least. And, Paris officials, they spent $1.5 billion to try and clean the Seine. They actually hope by 2025 that people they're going to have swimming pools in the Seine. This is their ambitious plan to bring the Seine back into daily life in Paris. And so this was kind of the big kickstart where they could say, hey, look, we had Olympic swimming trials here in the Seine, and it went off without a hitch. I will say it was beautiful to watch, to see them in the Seine. Well, I wasn't looking directly in the water or at the water quality, but just to be swimming in the Seine, to see all of the sights of Paris, what you're swimming. I thought it was beautiful, but I will say it was also a little eerie because of the movie we watched last night. It almost looked like life imitating art.
The movie had very crystal clear water. Could see everything. This stuff today, after all we've been talking about with this water, to see them jumping in it today, I was like,
you said ew.
Ew, it's nasty.
But you know what? The movie with the clear water had sharks in it. So yeah, we watched.
I'll take my chances.
Really? There was Under Paris. I don't know if y'all have seen it. Netflix. It was promoted heavily in several weeks ago, and we never clicked on it. And we thought, you know what? At midnight last night, why not just put this movie on and we'll fall asleep to it?
Yeah,
well,
gotta be up at 3:30, but let's stay up and watch this movie at midnight.
No, we figured we would just fall asleep to it. It was like our going to sleep movie. And yet we stayed up for the whole entire thing because it was so ridiculous and yet compelling at the same time.
It was fun to watch. It had great beauty shots of Paris, but the idea essentially that a shark gets into the Seine,
and reproduces massively.
Experimental shark of some, what was it? Some research shark? It was something.
It was something that could reproduce without actually having a male shark.
Yes. So you got sharks all over the place. But the thing about the movie is that they do talk about Paris. We're getting ready for the Olympics. The movie is about a triathlon that they're getting ready for, and the mayor, a woman in the movie and a woman mayor in real life.
Actual Paris mayor Anne Hidalgo could have been depicted in the movie. We're not sure, but it kind of seemed like it.
She does not want to watch this movie.
She should not watch this movie. But it's funny because, yes, they actually in the movie talk about the $1.5 billion cleanup and how it's so important for the city of Paris and how the Olympics are coming and all the eyes are on Paris. The journalists had all come in. And so she had that triathlon go on despite the fact that there were sharks in the Seine. And you can imagine what happened.
They don't talk about the water being nasty. They just say sure.
Well, they did say they cleaned up the water to have the triathlon, to have the Olympics. Like that was a narrative in the movie.
Okay, so that was an aside, and their problem was sharks. Our problem now at the Olympics is
pollution. E. coli, to be specific.
Oh, God. And
I'm
you thought
sorry.
it was cool to see them running. I read something, a terrible note, because it rained a little bit, I think.
It did in the beginning.
In the beginning of it. So I saw some professor, he said the problem you have is not just that rainwater coming down. What happens is the rainwater washes into all those parish streets and all those sewers.
The runoff
and it runs
goes
off,
into the Seine.
And you just thought it was cool to see them jumping in that water. Huh?
I was just looking at the imagery on the television. That's all.
One Brazilian, I think she'd like to still be swimming, but she's home right now. She has filed an official complaint against her country's Olympic committee because they sent her packing from the Olympics. Now, why did they send one of their own athletes home, Robes?
Well, she sneaked out or tried to sneak out of Olympic Village with her partner, her boyfriend, who also was an Olympian, but he had already competed and not done well. But they were trying to go out on the town, perhaps. They got caught, and that is a big no-no. But apparently it wasn't just that she got caught trying to sneak out with her boyfriend. It was how she reacted to getting caught to sneaking out.
And they say that's what got her sent home. It wasn't a matter of just the violation. He was not sent home. So she is the one who gets the greater punishment, but they say that's because of how she reacted. She was very disrespectful. And I appreciate what somebody from Brazil, one of their coaches or officials, said, we ain't here to play. We ain't here to party. This is a business trip that the taxpayers of Brazil are paying for. I kind of like that.
I appreciated it too. I thought he made a very good point and just said, hey, this isn't your vacation. This isn't, your little pleasure trip. And this is funded by the people of Brazil. And so be respectful. And if you can't be, then you're going home. And that's exactly what happened.
And she's home, but she says now that she has lawyers getting involved. And by the way, she swims the 4x100 relay for Brazil. They didn't make it to the finals. In fact, they finished seventh in their own heat.
Okay, in their own heat. Okay, got it.
Okay?
Got it.
Seventh. If that team was, going for a gold, you think they would have sent her home?
I'm going to go with no.
No. Okay.
So basically what you're saying is her Olympic prowess didn't match her disdain for the rules.
Body can't cash those checks.
Wait, what did you say? Wait, say that again?
Yeah, I was talking to you the other day. I said your mouth is writing checks that your body can't cash. So her performance was not up to par. Another controversy, we hate to see these types of things, but with so many countries involved, there's going to be some kind of a diplomatic brouhaha of some sort. But this time we're talking about judo. Now, I know you don't probably not pay a whole lot of attention to judo. It's not the most popular sport that everybody's watching in the Olympics, but it's in the news because the official governing body of judo internationally is now investigating after an athlete from Algeria didn't make weight and was disqualified from his match. Now, it's not uncommon. More so, you see it in boxing. There are weigh-ins. You have to do this and have to stay a certain weight. He missed weight. Not the biggest deal in the world, you would think. But the governing body says other people are complaining that this has happened a little too frequently with Algeria in particular. It's happened, I think, 3 times in the past 2 Olympics. And the issue here is that Algeria does not recognize Israel. So they believe that maybe pressure was put on the athlete by his government to not be out there and have to compete against an Israeli athlete. That sucks.
Yeah, so when they find out, these athletes, it appears, when they find out they are going to be going one-on-one with an Israeli athlete, they then have a reason or an excuse not to compete.
Yeah, and there have been other instances where this same Israeli athlete had somebody do the same thing at the previous Olympics. There have been issues where athletes from other countries won't even shake hands with Israelis. That's not the spirit of the Olympics. I know countries,
the opposite. Yeah,
countries are doing their thing, but this is the one place where that was supposed to, the Olympic ideal, right? So
the politics are not a part of these games.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, they definitely shouldn't be. You know what? I can't believe that we're still talking about the opening ceremony. That is crazy. We heard from former President Trump actually calling the opening ceremonies a disgrace, and that's Brody, who heard somebody at the door. But sorry for that interruption. Brody, please be quiet. Yeah. We're doing this from our apartment, and we do have our Brody here. But anyway, so the Olympic spokesperson already clarified that the intention was to have not a depiction of the Last Supper, which offended and drew a lot of criticism from the Catholic Church, among many others. But they said this was about having a grand pagan festival connected to the gods of Olympus, not the Last Supper. Well, it's not just that President Trump has weighed in, former President Trump has weighed in. Now, the French DJ, if you saw the opening ceremonies, she was in the center. Her name is Barbara Butch. She has now filed several police reports because she says she's received specific and alarming death threats for her participation in the opening ceremonies. And so the Paris prosecutor's office has confirmed that a complaint has been made for cyber harassment. And they said that the facts could potentially qualify as abuse aggravated by discrimination, death threats, and public incitement to attempt on the life or physical integrity of people. So this is serious, and this is sad. It's just sad. I actually feel like in the name of defending Christianity, or you're just at least trying to say that wasn't cool or we're offended, and there was an apology issued for anyone who was offended, to then take it to a level of threatening violence is certainly not in the spirit of Christianity. So it just leaves me frustrated and annoyed.
In the name of
it's
Christianity.
Sad.
In the name of Christianity doing a very non-Christian thing.
Exactly. And that is just, it's as hypocritical as it gets.
And you're right. We're still talking about the opening ceremony. We should be talking about it because it was awesome.
Right. I thought it was amazing, but not everyone agrees.
All right. What we got today? What's the schedule today?
Well, today we are going to be watching the men's all-around individual gymnastics finals. Paul Judah, Frederick Flip Richard competing for a medal after their unbelievable team final on Monday that earned them the bronze. Team USA got the bronze, but we'll see if I am so sorry. Brody is really going crazy right now. Apologies for that. But this is so cool because both Judah and Richard are making their Olympic debut. So this is so amazing for both of them. 20 and 24, I believe, are their ages, but we'll see what they can do. Also, U.S. men's basketball, we talked about that. That's today. Women's soccer, they can secure their first place finish. They're going to go ahead, but they can win or they can draw against Australia, and they're good. They're going to go against Germany on Sunday, which is going to be super cool. They already won against Germany. My apologies. 4-1. So we'll see what happens with them against Australia, but I feel like they're in good shape. Multiple finals in swimming, including the 1,500-meter women's freestyle. Katie Ledecky can get yet another medal in Paris. And then tennis, it's a big day in tennis. We've got a lot of matches up, including, we mentioned Coco Gauff. She gets to do a mixed doubles quarterfinal. She has a chance at a medal there, too. A lot going on today, a lot to watch. And we're excited to let you all in on the action.
Apparently your dog is excited.
Yeah,
about
he
the
is.
action as well.
Yeah, he's very, very into the Olympics.
We're going to give you all just a little insight right now. We could post this picture of our setup, but I don't think either one of us is dressed appropriately to post a picture. Even we know not to put stuff out on social media. I am on one knee. Oh my God, I'm actually on one knee.
You're on one knee.
Right in front of you. Right?
Wow.
I am literally on one knee. Why? I don't even know why. I'm on one knee leaning down.
You're just practicing.
Oh, no. I'm leaning down into a microphone that's on a big round coffee table. We have a big screen TV with, I think this is BMX bike.
Yeah.
Olympics on. Robes is in a what?
It's a sports bra and sweatpants.
Okay. I just got sweatpants.
You don't have a shirt on.
This is how we roll in the mornings. And the dog is staring at me.
Little different from morning television.
And would you know, so you'll have heard the dog barking. I am looking right now on Life 360 because my daughter Sabine is on the way here because I got to get her to an orthodontist appointment. This is what's happening with us
Dad
today.
duties just mixing in, and Brody's all stirred up because anytime you go to the door and you kind of propped it open for Sabine, he goes crazy because he never barks, but if he thinks someone's at the door, he will bark. So that's what was happening behind the scenes.
So we need to wrap this up. I see Sabine is getting closer, and when she gets to the door, he's going to lose his mind.
He's going to go crazy.
We should wrap it.
Yeah, we should. But anyway, thank you once again for joining us for our Tea and Perry. We'll have more to come.